What'd you walk into? There's a guy in a sequin gown, wearing a sequin gown and combat boots, and you have no point of reference, no understanding of history of where that came from, or where the hell it was going. You come in and see some old guy playing classic church tunes, and then you get someone with a bit of a Lou Reed, Johnny Ramone complex, who clearly can't control his equipment. That's also a double entendre to go with the G-string joke, by the way. Must be very strange. So I thought maybe, I could give a little bit of background history tonight. But why spoil the fun? Instead, I'm going to trust God and just do as planned. Which means I can't think of anything else to talk about. If I sweat anymore, I'll lose my notes. I can't write with that hand anymore. See, I think that the reason anyone would come to something like this, I'd say the reason anyone goes to church, but I don't think this applies to that. But I think the reason someone would come to something like this is because either they were tricked or paid, or through some kind of obligation to me, like, I won't be your friend if you don't come to my show at least once. Or maybe they're seeking some spiritual experience. And I have proof, because I told Eileen before the show started that tonight's sermon was going to be called, what?
Seek spiritual experience.
Seek spiritual experience. See, that was before I walked out and saw that the 800 people who called me today for directions apparently missed a street. But thank you guys for being here. I love you guys for being here. And thank you out in TV Land. For those of you who don't know, we are filming this for TV Land. That's what I call YouTube. And all the other internet sites that steal my videos and show them that's so cool because, well, you're just stealing my work and making me famous, so bless you. Paisley Yankolovich. You can send money to my ministry through my website, www.PaisleyYankolovich. Look up Christian drag queen or something, you'll find me. So, anyways, that having been said, that's right, stir the pot, Paisley. In my ministry, I have a Bible at home, and I have two bookmarks in my Bible. I have the Old Testament bookmark and the New Testament bookmark. And currently, the Old Testament bookmark is where I'm reading before performance nights to select something to speak on during that evening. And the New Testament is what I'm reading for my own devotion and edification. In the Old Testament, I came across today the beginning of the story of Samson. I love this story. I love this story because it has to do with hair. It has to do with great hair, the best hair in the world, nice, thick, curly, dark Jewish hair, and of course a bad hair day, which every one of us that have crazy, dark, curly Jewish hair had, usually in weather like this. It really is supposed to look like this. Okay. But Samson, the story of Samson, the account of Samson, I'm going to start saying account. The account of Samson is fraught with parallels to the Jesus story because an angel of the Lord appears to Samson's mother, who, by the way, is nameless in the Bible. There's only a handful of people in the Bible that an angel of the Lord appears to, mostly women, and all of them have names except Samson's mom. We have no idea, no one knows what her name is. She is the wife of Manoah, Samson's dad. Now I looked up Manoah. See, I thought maybe it was because Manoah would be part of the lineage that leads to Christ. Nope. We sidestep. We can't sidestep. Everybody say, we can't sidestep. Every single thing in the Bible has to do with his story, history. Everything. So there's something about the Samson's account, see, I almost did it again, that points to Christ. There really is. Okay, I'll be telling you. I promise I'll tell you tonight when I get there. But Samson, prior to his birth, was selected by God for a handful of particular works, much like every other human being that is born. I believe every single person was created with a purpose in mind, in God's mind. I believe every single person has a plan other than living, working, and watching reality TV, which is what I currently do. But I really believe this in my heart. I believe this is biblically sound, Old Testament and New Testament, biblically sound. Now, Manoah's wife was barren. She could not have children. Now, that's got to ring a little bit of a bell in the Old Testament for our Bible-lites. Reminds people of Sarah. And an angel of the Lord appeared to Manoah's wife and said, you're going to have a child, and I want him to be a Nazirite. I'll explain that in a second. And he's not to touch any product of grape, including grapes, including wine, including vinegar. And he is set aside to do a great work because he is going to deliver his people from the rule of the Philistines. And Manoah's wife runs and tells Manoah what happened. And says, this man talked to me and said this. And Manoah finds the man and hears the same thing. And Manoah says, let me kill a goat. Goats were expensive back in those days. Let me prepare you a feast, since you've delivered this wonderful message from God. And the man says to Manoah, since you're going to detain me, I do not plan to eat with you. See, I'm not the only one who would eat a goat. But you can offer a burnt offering, and I'll accept it on behalf of the Lord. A Nazirite is any one of the Hebrew people that are set aside by the taking of an oath. And they were required, as a sign of taking their oath, whatever it was, to not take a razor to their hair, to not get a haircut. Now, oddly enough, I have twice in my Christian walk in the last 28 years taken an oath before the Lord to not cut my hair until whatever time that was. I did it when I was going to start with my kid's mother to procreate. I had short hair at the time, and her brother was staying with us, and he's one of those bald on top with really long hair around it. And he asked me to take straightener and straighten out his long hair. And I was straightening his hair, and I go, oh my gosh, I used to do this all the time when I had long hair. I always used to straighten my hair because I hated having curly hair. I go, you know what? I'm going to take an oath. I'm not going to cut or comb my hair till your sister and I are done making babies. And I did it. By the time our third kid was born, I had dreadlocks down to there. I did. big ass dreadlocks. They were this long. And I took really good care of them, by the way. I did clean them. But there was a lot of hair on this head. And they look really cool. My dreadlocks appeared naturally. Just it didn't take long for my hair in its curly, frizzy state to start attaching. So yeah, and once we were done having babies, you bet I cut off my hair. I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to get out from under those dreadlocks. My gosh. Wake up in the middle of the night, you think someone's trying to smother you? And the only other time in my entire Christian walk that I said I was going to not cut my hair, not take a razor to my hair, was about 2 months ago, when I really felt like the Lord said, I'm going to lead you into a new ministry path. And I saw this punk string breaking mess I was going to be doing, and said, well, that'll be fun. I said, yeah, I just won't cut my hair till we're done. We're just going to see what happens. It's kind of as a sign that reminds me I've made a commitment to the Lord to walk down a new ministry path, to treat it as brand new, to not obligate it to anything that happened before, to do something fresh and new in my walk with God. So far, so good. I'm having fun. It's interesting, to come across Samson in that, because the person that is being referred to as an angel of the Lord here is telling Manoah's wife, this is what I want your kid to be. I want your kid to not get a haircut, as a sign of being separated for an important work of the Lord. So they detain the person of the Lord, and they get a goat, they kill a goat, and they start a fire. And when they throw the goat on the fire, and the goat is consumed in the fire, the person they've been referring to as the angel of the Lord dives onto the fire. Dives onto the fire and vanishes. That was quite a day. He's not even going to stay to eat. We killed a perfectly good goat. There are a lot of people, including myself, who believe that it is biblically sound and scholarly accurate to say that the appearance of angels of the Lord prior to the coming of Christ are actual appearances of Jesus. If you go back and walk through all of them and pretend each one is Jesus, it gives you a completely different perspective. That Jesus appeared to Manoah's wife and said, this is what I want from you. So that when a burnt offering was made, and the burnt offering was a sign of consecration before the Lord, saying, something happened here that involved the Lord, and we're going to dedicate something to that, that his reaction to it was to dive into it and become it. Because Jesus, of course, was all our offerings. All the offerings symbolize some work of Jesus, some part, some facet of his personality, and that he was consecrated to do this great work, the way he was calling Samson to be consecrated to do this great work. Now, I'm not going to tell the whole story of Samson tonight, because that's, well, I get to spend a whole night talking about hair. I'm not going to be brief about that. But what I want to talk about was having a day where an angel of the Lord appears, or the Lord himself appears, depending on what your theology tells you. But an angel of the Lord and the Lord basically are one and the same in this, in that they both represent you've been visited by God today, correct? So, to me, when I read it today, what ran through my head was, I sure know what a day like that's like.